Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the reverse town hall. I'm so glad that we were able to get everybody from our administration here to answer students' concerns and question and address them for a positive change. I believe this is very important, and I'm really glad that HCC takes the time and our administration takes the time to reach out to students and listen to them. So I just want to start off by welcoming everybody in. Thank you for joining us. If you could please write below your name and your major, just so we can get a little bit to know you better, that would be great. And my name is Jesus Canales. I am the Vice President of the Student Government Association for Northwest, and I'll let my other officer introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ifeb Bakari, and I'm the parliamentarian for HCC SGA Northwest also. And I think back to you, Jesus, right, to introduce the administrators.
Right. Well, thank you, everybody. We have a great turnout. Um, I'll start off by letting each panelist introduce themselves. I'll start off with Dr. Hodges. If you could please introduce yourself and tell us your role and what do you do.
Um, oh,
I believe you're on mute.
okay. Can you hear me?
You're
Yes, we
good.
can now.
Yeah. Zach Hodges, president of Houston Community College Northwest. Really happy to be here today. I was really excited about the questions that I saw. And as we emerge from the COVID thing, I'm anxious to talk to you today about the future and listen to you carefully about your concerns and then challenge you. You know, the questions really involved what can you do, and I've got some ideas, so I want to challenge you.
Thank you very much, and we're so glad to have you here with us. We appreciate you taking the time. Our next panelist would be Dr. Adil. If you could please introduce yourself, your role.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for having us here. And welcome, everyone. I'm Adil at College. And I'm looking forward to this session.
We're very glad to have us. Thank you for joining us and taking the time from your schedule to join us. Our next guest speaker is Dr. Ancivino. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us your role?
You did good, Jesus. Yes, I'm Dr. Anzavino, Kathy, and I am the operations officer, which means I help coordinate the facilities of the Northwest College, A-Leaf, Spring Branch, Bissonnet, and Katy. And I also help Dr. Hodges manage our budget for the college. And then any other project he wants to put me on. That's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I know you always do work hard to make sure our campuses live the best they can. And I'll move on to our next panelist. Our next panelist is Dr. Besson. Hopefully I pronounced that correct. If you could please introduce yourself, your role, that would be great.
Hi, I'm John Vaselli. I'm the Dean of Engineering here at Houston Community College. Looking forward to answering any questions you have. I hope you all had a good rest during the spring break.
Thank you very much. Our last panelist would be Dr. Riley. If you could please introduce yourself, your role, and what do you do for our wonderful school? perhaps they're still not with us today. So we'll just move on to the questions that were already asked. If you could please take it over from here, that would be appreciated. Thank you, guys.
Jesus, was Dr. Riley on mute maybe? Because I heard her
Is she
talking.
here?
I'm here. I think I may have been on mute, but I'll just drop my information on the chat so we can start with the panel. Thanks.
We got time. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's Colleen Riley, and I'm the Dean of Visual and Performing Arts. We have 7 programs: art, dance, drama, music, music business, filmmaking, and audio recording technology.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Now I'll pass it on to our parliamentarian, Aoife, to start with the questions.
Thank you so much, Jesus, and thank you to all administrators that are here with us today. So we're about to start the panelist session, and I just want to implore the panelists to, limit the responses to about 3 minutes, for time's sake. So we'll be starting off with the Northwest College presidents, Dr. Hodges. And the first question for you will be, what is your vision for Northwest 5 years from now? And how do you think students can help shape that vision?
Is it Aoife? Aoife?
Yes, it's Aoife.
Aoife, yes, thank you, Aoife. I want to thank you, Jesus, Dominique Brown, for her excellent work in working with our students in all of our student activities, and our excellent team here to serve you, our excellent leadership team. When you talk about 5 years from now, I guess what I would talk about first of all is that how important it is to engage the new student, which is you, and your generation, in active learning that entices you, that pulls you into the college in a new way, that gives meaning to you and educates you at a higher level for the 21st century skill set that you need. And what that's about, I think, is student engagement. So many of our students are passive. They don't know what to expect when they get here. We're broken down into classes. You go to your classes, you may or may not have the ability or even the confidence to participate fully in those classes. So you kind of sit on the sidelines. And we know students who are not engaged in their own learning are probably going to drop out and not be successful. So I think as we look towards the next 5 years in higher education, it's really around relevance. And what is relevance to you students? And what does that look like? I think it involves in pulling you in again to the educational process in new and creative ways, through project-based learning, through active learning, where you learn by doing, whether it's English, history, science, engineering, fine arts, whatever it is. You're creating something, you're participating, you're working in teams, and that becoming so relevant for students that they just can't get enough of it almost. So I really do think that what we have a responsibility of doing is inviting students to participate in new creative ways. And students have a big part in that. First of all, I think I have to get that message out to students. So I love these reverse conversations and would like to see these happen once a month where we could really build a student base, because see, what that enables me to do is to present a vision for you. And then you have the opportunity to buy into that vision or to give me feedback of what else you need in addition to that vision. So what we do is we advance together in this process of higher education, but it's always about creating access and opportunity for you in new and creative ways, challenging you, letting you see what we consider to be your potential, and then for you to go out and be a successful citizen, go on to another college or university or enter the workforce with a level of confidence that you didn't even know was possible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hodges, for that brilliant response. And hopefully, Jesus, I'm sure we also here, we might, put into consideration having the reverse town hall meeting, like you mentioned, monthly, to just gauge your vision. So in talking about relevance, I have a question for Northwest College Dean of Students, Dr. Deal. So I wanted to ask, how is the administration handling student concerns surrounding academic advising?
Ife, thank you. That's a great question, and I am not aware of any recent concerns, but a couple of things that previous that I talk about is one was access. So one thing that we have done for access, you all created that was during the COVID timings. Access was the most important thing. Students didn't know where to contact, how to contact advisors. They were not getting timely responses. But a couple of other things that that I am aware of and I want to share is that last month or maybe last semester, we have seen the caseload numbers have gone. Advisor, they had about, I would say, maybe 450. Now we are standing at about 650 roughly, or about 600 roughly active students per advisor. So that is another active concern that I have, and we continue to bring it to the higher leadership's attention to see what we can do to maybe add more advisors. Obviously, when there are more students, and response time and that active, or what do you call, that engagement with the students at one-on-one level is not possible. So that is something that we are currently working on. But when it comes to access, now that we are slowly returning back to our on-campus normal, we have doubled the advising staff at Ailey Pace campus. So we have more staff present there. Moving forward, we are bringing staff mostly in May or June at both the spring campus and campus. Students who like to receive services face to face, they have a way or option to go visit with the advisor. These are a couple of things that we are doing. There was one other concern that came on board some time, that I was misadvised or advised. So there is a plan we are introducing a 3-level advising service. If there are new advisors, they will come in. That would be sponsored by HCC Training Academy, and hopefully moving forward, that can aid with some advisors training. A lot of the time it's not just the training issue, it is more like the issues that are the mapping in the system, in our student information system. So if the courses are not sequenced or mapped correctly, then advisors cannot do anything about it. But we are doing our part to make sure that we remove any barriers in successfully delivering services to students. And we encourage you all to continue to bring your concerns forward, so we have the information. Hopefully I've answered your question.
Absolutely, Dr. Dill, definitely you did. And I'm sure like the students also here will know that, we have more access now to advisors. And I myself also use the virtual lobby, so it's been really helpful for me. Yes. Thank you so much again for your response. And now we'll be moving on to our Northwest College College Operations Officer, and that is Dr. Anzavino. I hope I got that correctly. So our first question will be, how has the announcement from the governor to adjust COVID restrictions impacted the current COVID policies and procedures at HCC?
Okay, well, yes, we're all on pins and needles waiting to see what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. But I will tell you the first announcement was the masks and the lifting the restriction of the mask, or actually leaving it up to various businesses and entities to decide. So the HCC has decided to keep their mandatory mask policy. So that's how we're specifically responding to that at this time. At this time, we are keeping the mandatory mask policy. The over spring break, they came out with a what I think can be very important announcement for HCC, and that's about the distance. We've all been operating under a 6-foot distance in our occupancies of our classrooms. And so the CDC has come out and said that 3 feet with masks is adequate. So I'm not sure how HCC will respond. I'm sure we have a meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's a standing Tuesday, Thursday meeting, operational meeting, that I think this question will come up. I will tell you what the college, and I'm going to let Colleen and John chime in here if they want. What we're setting up the summer and fall schedules under the idea of capacity of 9 in our classrooms. Where rooms are big enough to hold more, once classrooms are assigned, we could raise the cap for those face-to-face classes. So my assumption is that we will look at what the new CDC guideline is, we'll assess that and determine whether it should make any adjustment. If any adjustments are made, I think he's in the right position to make those adjustments, i.e. possibly increase the caps of our face-to-face classes summer and fall. But stay tuned. We're not sure yet what that response is going to be, because that's the latest announcement.
Absolutely, Dr. Anzavino. So, and thank you so much for your response. I'm sure, yes, we're all, on our toes, just to make sure that we are aware of any adjustments. So thank you so much again. And now I'll be moving on to the Dean of Visual and Performing Arts. That's Dr. Riley. And I'd like to know how the Visual and Performing Arts Center adjusted classes and events to the virtual environment.
Colleen, you're muted still.
Sorry, I think I'm having a little technical issue. I apologize. It's been a big transition for us in the visual and performing arts. A year ago, we had to very suddenly move our fine arts online, along with our filmmaking and our audio recording. All of those programs were working with students toward end of semester performances and exhibitions, and we had to very quickly transition those to online platforms and formats. Some good things have come out about that. We now have a HCC Visual Arts Instagram account where we feature our student and our faculty work, and I'll make sure to put that link in the chat for you. And we've grown quite a bit in our online delivery of our concerts and our recitals and our film screenings. So I think going forward, we're going to see a real mix of maintaining some of our virtual programming and also returning to our face-to-face showcase exhibitions and performances. I think the faculty have done an outstanding job problem solving and being creative, and I really have enjoyed how much of a collaboration it has been between the faculty and students to solve problems creatively as they arise. So that's been really inspiring to see. And we just today are taking back a few of our classes to our campuses. So some of our ceramics and sculpture classes, for example, are coming back to campus for the first time today. So that's very exciting. And I see us bringing more and more classes back to campus in the summer and in the fall, while still, exploring what will work for us in an online environment, because it has created a lot of flexibility for our students, which is something that they've expressed to us they've wanted for quite some time. And it's also, I think, created more opportunity for project-based learning when students and faculty are in the room together. Now, just to build off of what Dr. Inzavino shared, I think some of our considerations going back into the classroom is that we know for visual and performing arts, our students are moving around quite a bit. So it's a little bit different to imagine social distancing if a class is stationary in their desks. We tend to set up different stations for different elements of different projects. We share a lot of equipment. So we're being very thoughtful about how to do that safely going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Riley, for that response. And I do applaud, the administrators, because I'm also taking a fine arts course myself. And there's also been some adjustment where, having to either, because we had one of our projects that you could either go in person to go see the museum if that's permissible, or you could just do a virtual, assessments. So I thank you so much for that adjustments. So right now would also be moving to a Dean of Engineering, and still in the realm of, COVID-19 adjustments. We've received some feedback from students, and it's mainly that some of them are struggling in the virtual environments. So I'd like to ask, what resources are the engineering departments providing to ensure student success?
Sure, thank you. Good question. Before COVID hit, we did not offer any online courses. That was intentional. We know that our courses are difficult. We do a lot of project-based group activities, and so the transition to online was difficult for our faculty as well as the students. The courses, some of our courses you have to have already taken Calculus 2 and University Physics 2 before you can even take Dynamics or some of the other courses. So we know they're difficult. And we know our students are struggling. We track the grades and they've slipped some, and we understandably so. It's hard enough to learn and ask questions when you're in the same room, let alone if you're trying to do it remotely with difficulties in hearing and seeing and everything else. In response to that, what we've done is we've placed in each one of the Canvas shells for each course lots of extra information, links to tutorials and practice problems and so forth. We've also set up our schedules so that we have an hour on either side for an instructor, so that if there are questions, they can stay on later to answer them, or they can come on early to assist students. So that's in lieu of office hours where students could actually come in and sit down with the instructor. We try to leave some flexibility and time on either side of a class for students. And most recently, because we know that for some of our advanced courses, the computer horsepower for some of the students' computers are struggling with handling MATLAB and AutoCAD and some of those larger software packages. We've been experimenting with providing to the students the ability via a VPN link to actually take over a computer that's on campus and therefore use that computer to do all their homework and work with the computer software, controlling it from their computer at home, which is less capable. And that pilot is just about completed. We've rung that out now so that for those students that don't have enough computer power at home, they'll actually be able to slave essentially one of the computers that's on one of our campuses. We've polled our students in every class. I've polled all the faculty. Both the students and the faculty want to come back face to face as soon as it's safe. And so we anticipate after COVID is behind us that we will return to, for the most part, most of our classes face to face on campus so that we can revitalize all of our project-based learning and groups and all that sort of thing. So I appreciate that the students are struggling. The faculty have worked very hard to be able to convey what needs to be learned remotely, but we still know that it is a challenge. The other thing that we've done is we have a very liberal policy with students that either were interrupted during taking a test or for some reason couldn't submit the homework on time. If they have a valid reason for trouble, we've given those students extensions. So we're trying to do everything we can to get everyone through this. We know it's difficult. As I say every semester when I send out my little note to all the engineering students, if you have problems that you're struggling with and you've tried to resolve them with your instructor and you're still not satisfied with the answer, please reach out to me directly and we'll do whatever we can to help you.
Yes, that's really commendable. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Vaselli. And I'd also like to know, are there any new partnerships, opportunities that's going to be available in the future for HCC engineering students or HCC students in general?
Yeah, so the most exciting new news, I guess, is that we opened this past fall our engineering academy with the University of Houston at Katy, and so we've got a cohort of students now that will spend 2 years with us taking courses. All the engineering courses are U of H engineering courses, and then they complete their 4-year degree at U of H. That is very similar to our Texas A&M Academy at Spring Branch, where again you can take 1 or 2 years at HCC taking the engineering courses that are Texas A&M courses, and then transition to complete your degree with A&M. We have just signed a memorandum of agreement with the University of Houston to extend our U of H Engineering Academy to the east side of town. And so much like we have the academy centered in Katy on the west side with the U of H, we'll now be offering courses at our Fraga campus, which is off Navigation Boulevard on the east side of town, so that students that live on the east side of town do not have to drive all the way over to Katy if they're interested in obtaining their engineering degree from the University of Houston. As we move out further, and of course, we also have our UT Tyler agreement and with their Houston Engineering Center, which is at our Alief campus, where again, a student can complete their entire 4-year degree with UT and do that all right in one building on Hayes Road. The next logical expansion will be Prairie View A&M. We started that dialogue with them a year or two ago, and then they had their dean changed, their president changed. But that is, again, an opportunity for students to be able to take a couple of years with us and then complete their 4-year engineering degree in Prairie View. And similarly, we've started that conversation with Lamar on the east side for those students that it would be easier to go to Beaumont to complete a 4-year degree.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vaselli. That is really commendable. So if you're an engineering student and you're here, there are a lot of pathways to a lot of good universities. I know he mentioned UH. There's an academy, and you said you just started with there's UT Tyler, and there's always been Texas A&M, and you mentioned, what's the last one that you're currently working on?
University of Houston Engineering
Mhm.
Academy, Texas A&M Chevron Engineering Academy, and the UT Tyler Houston Engineering Center. So those are our three major partners. And I guess I should say that those pathways significantly reduce the cost of getting a four-year degree.
Mm.
You can save between $30,000 and $60,000 depending upon which program you go into um, in completing that degree. And many of the students in those programs are working their way through college. So there's a real cost savings. It's also convenient because you can spend 2 years locally here in Houston before you would, either go to College Station or transition to the main U of H campus. So it's more convenient. It's more cost effective, and because you already are a student in those programs, you don't actually apply to transfer. You just automatically transition because you are already a co-enrolled student in Texas A&M and HCC, or University of Houston and HCC. And so rather than having to have a 3.5 GPA or higher to have a chance of being accepted as traditionally a direct transfer student, students that are already in one of those academies actually can transition with a GPA as low as 2.5. And so it is also easier to successfully complete your four-year degree. So those are great programs. They are unique to the Houston area. And so we're very proud of those partnerships.
Wow, that's a lot of, investments. And I'm sure like a lot of engineering students are going to be happy about that. So thank you so much, Dr. Vaselli. And in talking about innovations and things to look forward in the future, I would like to ask Dr. Hodges that what is something the Northwest administration or the institution as a whole is doing that you're currently really excited about?
Well, we are really excited about the new Katy campus. Those of you in the far west, the new campus will be across from U of H Katy at Colonial Parkway, just north of I-10, and the Grand Parkway 99. It's going to be a new, exciting approach to higher education, where we really work with our students on creativity and innovation, project-based learning, but also student engagement, where we are there working with you and available to you in whatever your needs may be, as far as developing your projects or helping you in your classes or your software, or teaching you digital proficiency, whatever it may be, where we come to you, you don't come to us. So the entire first floor is going to be really around student interaction and creativity, and working spaces, small working spaces, medium-sized working spaces, where we can engage students in a new way. I really want our students to help us by helping other students as well. We know that student employees have a better understanding maybe of the needs of students than we do. And they have more credibility with students. So if you're a successful engineering student, you can help students with engineering. If you know calculus, you can help calculus students. If you've had a couple of courses in art, you know how to help a student in first semester art classes. So we really want to have a whole new approach. And let me say this around kind of hybrid learning. It may be that you're taking a course where you might do the lecture, if you choose, online at your home, but you would have to come to the campus to do your work, to do your homework, to do your project. And then we would have a one-button studio. We would have animation opportunities, all kinds of support for you to complete those kinds of projects in your classes. And then hopefully a lot of it would be around teamwork as well. So again, we want to pull students into the college. We want students to be excited and actively engaged in their own learning. I think one of our mistakes in the past is we've allowed students to be too passive, to not participate. And it's kind of like if you walk too close to the edge, you fall off. If you move to the middle of something, it's impossible to fall off. So we want to do that also through student clubs, student activities, student sports, supplemental learning opportunities. We want our students to be excited about their education.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hodges. And students here will definitely, put that, take that seriously to be of help to other students. So we also have another question for Dr. Riley. And that will be, is there anything new coming down the pipeline for HCC Visual and Performing Arts students, or just HCC students in general?
Well, we have a really active April calendar of exhibitions and performances and film screenings. So I can put that link back in the chat. Those will be virtual performances this semester, but we're hoping as early as the summer, we'll be able to have some on-campus programming. We're also hoping to introduce an art history degree. So that would be something that would come online in the fall. And that part of our motivation in doing that is we are creating a partnership with the Menil Museum for students to have curatorial internship opportunities. So we're hoping to match our students with opportunities at the Menil and build off of our current relationship with the Museum of Fine Arts Houston to make sure that students are exploring museum studies as a possible profession, because there's a lot of opportunity here in Houston to do that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Riley, for that response. And we also have for Dr. Anzavino, still talking about, the new HCC Katy Campus. Are there any other innovative features that you'd like to share with us?
Well, Dr. Hodges kind of talked about a philosophy and what we're hoping to accomplish there. But our whole first floor, to Dr. Hodges's point, has been designed to encourage this student engagement and student interaction and what we like to call project-based learning. And so we've got several of those labs that are going to be available, a mini version of the WHR space, and Dr. Riley's area is going to have a nice innovative lab for project completion and for trying things out and prototyping things. So that's exciting. Our learning commons is just going to be amazing, with lots of space and furniture designed for student engagement and group learning and project-based learning. And up on the second and third floor, we will have lots of various gathering spaces, a little bit like A-Leaf Hayes is designed, where there's space for students to meet, and we want to put up the white so the students can work on problems and projects together, and just utilize that space. And yeah, that's some of the things. Fingers crossed, we're hoping to actually also have a nice outdoor learning space by utilizing our detention pond. So this is something we're required to do for stormwater runoff, but a lot of time during the year, those spaces are dry. And so we hope to design them in a way that we can use them for outdoor learning. And we're really putting an emphasis on our horticulture program that's currently at the Katy campus, but a brand new greenhouse with outdoor learning space for the horticulture agricultural programs. So we're really excited about that. Dr. Riley and Dean Vaselli are working with a group of faculty to enhance the delivery of learning and use all these great spaces that we're designing. And Dr. Adil is working with a group of service providers to enhance our services where we fully utilize the space and improve services to the students there. So that's a little bit about that. It's exciting. I think some
Yes, it
walls are going
is.
up this week. I think some walls are going up this week. So we'll try to get those pictures up as soon as they do.
Definitely. I was definitely looking forward to seeing, you know, the developments. Thank you so much, ma'am. And lastly, I'd like to go back to Dr. Hodges. So, you know, we've heard about a lot of exciting, you know, news, things to look forward to as students. So I'd like to know what do you think sets HCC apart from its competitors? And how do you think we can elevate, you know, those distinct features that help set HCC apart?
Well, I think of course, I am biased, and I believe HCC faculty and staff do a great job for our students in comparison with other community colleges. I do think we can do better on onboarding our students, getting them into the institution. We have a number of initiatives to improve our website and improve our ability to make it easy for students to register. I know that once students get into class, they're very happy with the quality of the instruction and their faculty. But I think HCC can always do better. And in order to stay ahead of our competition and be the community college of choice for the greater Houston area, we always need to listen to you as a student about what it is, how you're communicating, and what your goals and aspirations are, and to do that in a way that it helps you feel really good about HCC. And then when you do that, you share that information with your family and friends in the community. I'm excited about all of the initiatives we have going on. I'm real excited about emerging from the COVID experience into kind of a new reality that makes us all even better. So I'm proud of HCC. And I did want to say, just because we're doing something at Katy, we're also going to extend that to our Hayes Road campus, Spring Branch campus, our Bissonnette Workforce Center, and then expand it throughout HCC. The new Katy campus is going to be a model of the future HCC. But in the meantime, we're also going to be doing similar activities and experiences at our other campuses as well. So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about getting out there and getting with it. And I have a question before we wrap up. I also have a question for students that I'd like to hear your 2 cents, either in chat or in person.
Thank you very much. Do you wish to ask the question to the students?
Yes, I do. Are students ready to come back? Are they comfortable with coming back? And if so, when? The summer or the fall? When?
Feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat a yes or no.
While we're gathering that information, I want to respond to Mr. Turin's lengthy comments and questions in the chat. The truth is, what I learned in college is obsolete today. Almost nothing that I learned in my undergraduate degree is still technically valid today, or certainly not current. Education used to be, or maybe in some of the lower grades, we would test students to see whether they knew how to memorize. But that's not what we do today. We use the term problem solving, but really I'd rather say that we need to teach individuals how to think. We need to teach individuals how to look at a problem and figure out how to solve it. And my experience as a working engineer for 30 years is that my people skills were as important as my technical skills. And that's why we spend a lot of time in our program with team efforts and having students give presentations and that sort of thing, because it's not good enough to be smart if you cannot effectively communicate to others what they need to know, and as a leader, convince them that they should follow you. So education is evolving. I certainly have no idea what education is going to be like 100 years ago. Hopefully we'll all just take a pill and that'll be, and we'll be smart. But until then, what we focus on is putting in each individual's toolbox a set of basic skills. Some of them are technical, some of them are people skills, communication skills, and hope that as they move forward, it's not so much an issue of remembering all the formulas that you had to learn, but more being able to step back and analyze a problem and look at the various solutions and pick the best one. And that's a qualitative set of capabilities that somehow we have to build into individuals through a set of specific building blocks that we call courses.
Well, thank you very much for responding to our students. And yes, I believe right now, most of the students are ready to come back, but some of students are still very concerned and wish to take classes online. And I believe we're gonna be doing that. Is that correct? If anyone in the administration could answer that, if some students still don't feel safe, how is that going to work? Are we still going to be able to do it online, or is it going to change anyway?
We'll have all options open for students. If students want to stay online, they can do that. There'll be hybrid courses that will be some on campus, some online. There will be synchronous online, I would assume, or maybe more asynchronous than synchronous online. So all the options will be available for students.
That sounds great. I think many of our students will be very pleased with that answer. Thank you so much, Dr. Hodges. And I'm going to read a question that was in the top. A student said, I live in Katy. I am out of district student. Are there any plans to include my area 77494 to pay in district tuition?
Yeah, let me answer that. Katy ISD and Spring Branch ISD and parts of Fort Bend ISD and Lamar ISD. Well, Katy and Spring Branch are in the service area of Houston Community College. However, the residents do not pay taxes to HCC. Even though it's a minimal tax, they have not chosen to do that. So students have to pay, make up for the lack of taxes paid. If that would be a good student project to try to promote interest in those areas joining the tax base of Houston Community College. It would be a citywide, it would be a Katy ISD district-wide initiative, but that's the reason. The citizens would have to choose to pay taxes to HCC in order for the out-of-district tuition to go away.
Thank you very much. But who will we have to go to in order to make that happen? That's just my own question.
There is a petition process that you have to get so many people to sign the petition to put it on the ballot. And it would then come up in the next election once you had the necessary signatures on the petition, and then the citizens within that district would vote for or against.
Oh, well, thank you very much, because I always seem this questions to always come up, and I live in Katy also, and I've been having the same question like since I've been enrolled here, and it's good to know what we can do to make that change happen. And I know a lot of students wish they could pay in state.
I would love for students to take the initiative to do that, but it's
Yeah.
up to the local community.
Right. But we can always voice our make our voices be heard in order to create positive change.
You bet, Jesus.
Okay, the next question is, how can alumni continue to participate with HCC?
Alumni.
How can alumni continue?
Yes.
Oh, I think Dr. Adil will take their names, and we would love to use them. We'd like to feature their successes in some stories, but we'd like to engage them in our recruitment and even possibly some peer mentorship type programs for our students. So if you're interested in staying connected, I'm putting you on the spot. Let Dr. Ardeel or myself know, because we're interested in, especially if you went to a local high school, we would love to have you help us with some of our recruitment activities.
Yeah, I second that. We have been engaging students, those who want to stay connected with us, and that would be highly valuable for us. If there are students who are interested, just connect with us. We do have, we used to have this alumni office. I'm not sure how much of student engagement but they are doing, but or alumni engagement they're doing, but we stay in touch with our students. So yeah, just let us know.
Thank you so much for that answer. I'm gonna read one more question from a student. It said, what is the purpose of education in your opinion? Is HCC effectively delivering the value in today's digital world compared to other competitions such as Plurinside and Coursera? And what are the existing problems and opportunities HCC education infrastructure? I'm sorry. What is the changes being made the further of education, not just 5 years ahead, but the next 100 years, to ensure HCC delivers the most impactful and highly qualified education remaining in the competitive? If anyone could answer that.
I can
Dr.
give
Wright,
that
yeah, you're on the marketable skills group, right?
exactly. I can give that a go. I think one of our challenges is that we have to create degree plans and certificates that are very program based at the same time that what the world is asking of us is to be really interdisciplinary. So we're having a lot of conversations on the faculty side about how programs can be connected with their curriculum. And there's a state initiative around what's called a marketable skill or an employability skill that is mapping those soft skills that Dean Vaselli had mentioned, and some of the technical skills that are embedded inside programs across different programs, which I think will open up a lot of conversations about how you can find problem solving and critical thinking skills in a class that you may not expect that to be the focus of. So I think that will sort of open up the way we think about our areas of study as liberal arts and humanities or STEM or STEAM, and really look at skills across the curriculum and collaborations with programs across the curriculum, which will provide students a more broad context of how they will use their education going forward.
Thank you for that awesome answer. You guys nailed it. Is there any more questions? Or is there any questions we want to ask the students that they can?
Yeah,
If
I would
not,
like to.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to I would like to challenge our students to get more students involved. You know, as we get back on campus, I really want student government and our various student clubs and student activities to really reach out and try to get more students involved. I know Ms. Brown is doing a wonderful job, and many of the club sponsors. But let's get more and more students involved and engaged in their own learning. We know that if the more involved students are, the more likely they are to be successful.
Definitely, that's a goal that we've been having as student government, to reach out to those students and host these events to help them in any way possible and have them boast their voices. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I believe that will conclude all our questions. I do want to thank everyone. This is awesome. It really shows that this is what makes us stand out from other colleges, because our administration really does care about our students and are willing to listen to them. And I just want to thank everyone. Go ahead.
He says, I have a quick acknowledgement, and Dr. Hodges and leadership team, this came in today, and the students, Ms. Dominique Brown, our student life coordinator, she is selected as advisor of the year from Texas Junior College of SGA. So we are very excited about it. And also Northwest SGA has been selected as the chapter of the year. So we have won 2 recognition from Texas Junior College student government.
Yes.
So thank you, all of you, for your hard work, and congratulations. You make us all proud.
Thank you very much. We do serve as the vice presidency of the region, and out of 21 students, we got chapter and advisor of the year. So it just shows how much committed we are to helping our students. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And we look forward for more exciting projects.
Enjoyed it.
Good luck with the rest of your semester.
Okay, everybody.